Back in January, I made a video titled Transport Fever 3, the sequel City Skylines 2 should have been. This wasn't a comparison of games within the same exact genre, but I used City Skylines 2 to make a point about why Transport Fever 3 looks like it will be a proper sequel. It builds on what works instead of blowing it up and spending years cleaning up the mess. And well, Paradox Interactive seems to have taken this personally because they're now Transport Fever 3's publisher. Fellas, forgive me. I did not realize what could be whispered into existence. God, I'm sorry. All jokes aside, it's understandably easy to be pessimistic about this announcement, as Paradox Interactive doesn't currently have the best reputation. Looking at City Skylines 2, we're nearly 3 years removed from launch, and the game is still struggling to find its footing. While the technical foundation remains rough, the flow of DLC has continued. Then there's Prison Architect, which was acquired by Paradox in 2019 and has since been weighed down by mixed DLC, lingering bugs, and a sequel that has been delayed indefinitely. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 went through years of delays and changed developers entirely. It had a messy launch and somehow turned a cult RPG into a linear vampire action game, which is a genre switch no one asked for. But given all that, I'm still very optimistic about Transport Fever 3. Less so about the inevitable mountain of DLC and Paradox's business practices, but the fundamentals of the game haven't changed. Transport Fever 3 is still being built by its original developer, Urban Games, on an upgraded version of the second game's engine, and in Paradox Interactive's announcement, they state that the partnership pertains to the publishing of Transport Fever 3, but it does not include intellectual property rights. So this is a partnership, not an acquisition. Paradox is handling the publishing side, but the franchise still belongs to Urban Games for the time being. This is different from Paradox-owned franchises like City Skylines or Prison Architect. In a response on Reddit, an Urban Games community manager says that our plans for the game both in the run-up and beyond the launch of the game are unchanged. At this point, I'm choosing to believe them. I could very easily make a purely negative version of this video, but that wouldn't be honest because there are some upsides to this partnership. Urban Games is a relatively small Swiss developer with a team of around 24 people. Having a publisher like Paradox handle the logistical side of things, like global distribution, localization, marketing, and console support, could let Urban Games stay focused on actually making the game, and the series could use the visibility. Transport Fever has never had the mainstream reach as something like City Skylines, and that's not a reflection of quality. A bigger publisher could bring more players, which means more revenue for continued development, and a bigger modding community, which extends the life of the game. Of course, there are things to be concerned about with this partnership. Paradox has pushed Paradox mods as a controlled mod ecosystem, but its experience does not match that of Steam Workshop. This series has a huge PC modding community, and cutting that off would be a terrible way to start. But a shift towards Paradox mods is not impossible. Transport Fever 3 is launching on PlayStation and Xbox, and if Urban Games wants cross-platform mod support, that could push the game towards the more controlled mod ecosystem of Paradox mods. In a response on Transport Fever 3's website, Urban Games says, "Modding, whether you are a mod maker or just love using them, also won't change, except for the better. Our curated mod program will help modders bring their ideas to life by offering additional support, and those mods won't be sealed off behind any kind of payment. It's the same freedom of modding we've always had, entirely run by Urban Games, only we believe extended to be more accessible and flexible than ever." It's nice to hear that supposedly nothing will change, but there's also the business side of things. Paradox is a publicly traded publisher, and investors want results. So even if Paradox does not own Transport Fever, there is always a risk that deadlines and investor expectations could start putting pressure on Urban Games. Urban Games insists that their development timeline and content roadmap have not changed. I am inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt until their actions prove otherwise. And yes, There is always the possibility that this partnership could become an acquisition in the future. Maybe this stays a simple publishing deal, but after seeing what happened with franchises like Prison Architect or City Skylines, I don't think fans are crazy for being cautious. However, as someone who frequently has harsh criticism for Paradox Interactive, I'm not going to give in to knee-jerk reactions and act like Paradox Interactive is the great Satan. Transport Fever 3 still appears to be on track, and I am very eager to play it. Urban Games just needs to remain true to their past and not turn Transport Fever 3 into a bloated paid DLC bonanza. And Paradox Interactive needs to be a supportive partner, not a new cook in the kitchen. I'm still looking forward to Transport Fever 3, but am more cautious about the future given Paradox's involvement. But what do you think? Subscribe for more. Godspeed.